Peace everyone and beautiful day to you. This is a video recording during the day for once. I'm wrapped up because it is cold and I want to protect my head since we lose most of our heat from the head. And it's day 10, so this is the final video of this medicinal fast and it's been a journey. It's been a lovely journey. There are a few things that I wanted to still talk about and finalise, and then I think I'll go for a walk and come back and have some mangoes. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was water and hydration. Hydration is a infrequently talked about, proportionately, component of nutrition. Water is, the body is mostly water, and everything that's living came out of the ocean. Therefore, water is the most important nutrient that goes into our mouths. And having enough, having the right amount of water, having the right types of water is very, very important to human health, human nutrition, the absorption of nutrients, the level of inflammation in the body, the blood pressure, the neurological functioning, the cardiac functioning. Absolutely everything depends on water. And this is common for me. I like to end my fasts on a dry fast, as well as begin them on a dry fast, which means no water, no food. So I was dry up until 10 minutes before 11 a.m. since 12 a.m. yesterday, so 35 hours. And I still have the juice from the previous day. I haven't drank it or drunk it. And I feel great right now. It's different to, I have this feeling of normality, that this is just a steady state and it could keep going. And the reason I broke the dry fast was because after reading experiences from other people's dry fasts, and there are people who dry fast for like a whole week, and to me that is very impressive because I can't see my body going without water for more than, say, 3 days. And of course these people don't just jump into it, they build themselves up to it, and their bodies go through an intense period of detoxification. When I say intense, I mean very effective. And so it's something that I do like to incorporate. It's said that a day of dry fasting is like a few days of water fasting, because if you think about what the body has to do now, it's not getting water, it has to go through lipolysis or fat breakdown even faster to maintain the amount of water in the body. And so you're breaking down more fat, more adipose tissue, and so the toxins stored in that fat can be released. And we store a lot of toxins in our fat. A lot of the drugs that we take, whether they be medicinal or recreational, a lot of that gets stored in the fat. A lot of the toxins we take through our diets get stored in our fat. And there's a lot of stored nutrients in the fat as well that we can use for the body. And so the reason I broke it was because from those experiences that I was reading about, they would be intuitive with their body and listen to their kidneys, essentially. And listen to, because you can feel your kidneys hyperperfusing or getting less blood supply. You can actually feel that. And so the moment I felt like it wasn't a pain, it was like an increased awareness of the area of my middle to lower back. And so I was like, okay, let me take some sips of water. But I've still been producing urine, and I know the warning signs. I know what to look for if I'm not making the best decisions for my kidneys. So I trust my intuition on that. So I'm very happy about that. And so I want to talk about types of water as well. So there are many different types of water. There's rainwater, there's spring water, there's water from fruits, of course. There is seawater, which is probably not the best for drinking. There is arguably also urine, which some people consider as the body's own water production. And none of these are, the important thing that I notice about all of these, and none of them are distilled. They can all be consumed by the body, and none of them are distilled. And a common way to purify water that has become more mainstream is to distill water. And I don't know if this is directly detrimental to the body, but it just seems wrong to me, since we wouldn't be having a constant source of demineralized water, basically, with a pure pH of 7. Ideally, water should be in the alkaline range, so above pH of 7, and ideally shouldn't contain high amounts of fluoride rather, or chloride, because these create acids within the water itself, and that's not great for the body. It's said that fluoride calcifies or leads to the increased calcification of tissues in the body, and it's not necessarily an essential nutrient, it's just added to the water. For little reason really, because it's said to prevent tooth decay, but there are many other things in the diets of people in the society that can prevent tooth decay that are not incentivized. So to me that says alternate agenda. And so I will always believe that the most pure forms of water for the body come from fruits and come from spring water. Rainwater as well. Anything that comes directly from the earth. Our body comes directly from the earth, and we're not separate from it. We're a seed of creation, just like all these fruits. They have their own seeds, and it's actually magical that this is life. This is part of life, that we have a symbiotic relationship with plants where they share themselves with us and we can share ourselves with them, and we have an awareness of that and a consciousness of that, and it's highly spiritual, it's highly intuitive, it's highly magical, it's highly present, it's many things. And so that's water. Seamoss and spirulina are two ingredients of the tonic that I haven't talked about yet, so I'll briefly mention them. They are quite known about and quite easy to research. There's quite a lot of literature on Seamoss and spirulina, or quite a lot of talk. So Seamoss first is said to have 92 out of the 102 minerals that the body needs, and that's a lot of minerals. A lot of minerals. I've seen one person talk about his view of minerals where he's really pushing urine therapy, and he says, yes, everyone talks about Seamoss and it contains 92 out of the 102 minerals, but all that tells to me is that it takes away 10. And so he sees nothing that's not a complete source of minerals as like the best source of minerals, and to him that's the reason why urine therapy is really good, because urine contains all the minerals that we need, since it comes directly from the blood plasma itself. That makes sense. Whether you agree with it or not is up to you. And Seamoss also contains quite a few vitamins, including all the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. And I had a look at the lipid profiles, the fat profiles of Seamoss, and it's interestingly, so we talked about the omega-6 to 3 ratio in a previous video, And Seamoss actually contains a tipped balance of it completely. Instead of being close to 1 to 1, there's actually more omega-3 than omega-6. So if you incorporate Seamoss into your diet or your eating habits, or especially in a fast like this where Seamoss is comprising a significant proportion of what is going into the tonic, then it tips the balance of your intake towards omega-3. And as we know, the ratio closest to 1 to 1 is best. However, if you routinely follow a diet where the omega-6 to 3 ratio is in favor of omega-6, and then you add something which is in favor of omega-3, it can balance that more. I hope that makes sense. That was an exciting finding. And so spirulina, the next thing. One thing to note is that both Seamoss and spirulina come from the sea, and that's why they're so full of minerals, because seawater is full of minerals. So spirulina is a type of cyanobacteria. It's a type of algae too. And it contains all 9 essential amino acids, contains a high amount of calcium, magnesium, and iron. And it's interesting because spirulina is a cyanobacteria, and it can synthesize its own cyanocobalamin, or vitamin B12. And there's been studies on this because it's highly interesting to anyone interested in nutrition and plant-based nutrition, because there's a lot of talk on, or propaganda on, how you can only really get an adequate amount of B12 from either eating animal products or supplementation, which I don't believe, because if humans are designed, and we are by design, plant-based animals, then we shouldn't need supplementation. Or else how did people before us who were plant-based, or how do people who don't have supplementation and are plant-based, how are they continuing in good health? And there are foods which can contain B12, and our guts should be able to synthesize their own B12. We should have bacteria that are able to do that. We should do by design. Makes sense. And there's another point which would be a tangent on this, is that research looking into gut bacteria to say that we don't have adequate production of B12 from the gut is most likely looking at people who aren't plant-based, since in the society most people aren't plant-based, and so you're looking at a picture of gut dysbiosis, essentially, or an imbalance of the bacteria that should be there, because as we know, eating a diet with animal products alters the gut flora, or the gut bacteria. Anyway, back to spirulina. So it synthesizes its own B12, and studies in this have shown that 70% of that B12 is an analog of B12, and then it pushes that since only 30% is actual B12, then this isn't the best form of B12. And at that point I go, well, excuse me, how do you know that the body can't use those analogs? Maybe it can. How do you know that that doesn't support gut production or gut synthesis of B12? Probably does. We don't know, you know? So I think spirulina is great in that regard. I think Seamoss and spirulina are great. And all the other ones, ginger, aloe vera, parsley, and lime, I think all of these ingredients are very, very good. Very balancing and very heart stimulating. And this leads on to the last point that I wanted to talk about, which concerns dedication and breaking a fast well. So now we are at the end of the 10 days. It is a very good opportunity for reflection and for considering what dedication means, what mental willpower means, what purpose this process was for, and what is come about. As you may or may not know, we've currently just passed the last new moon, which I love. I love it when fasts or cycles are in line with the new moon, because the moon has its own cycle, and the moon is very influential on the planet. So, dedication. After the dry fast, I had a shift. I experienced a shift in my mentality, because on the day that I incorporated dates, my blood sugar, of course, went up, and so that would have taken me out of the fasted state. And so I realized that maybe the way I did that was a bit foolish, really, because it means that my body went out of fast back into fast. And at first I felt these cravings, like, oh, I want more dates. And then I had to mentally let that go and mentally find comfort in the stillness that comes with fasting. And that was, I would say that was relatively easy, because, and I would say that's because of the experience that I have with fasting. It becomes mentally easier each time. I remember in previous fasts where I did a cycle to cycle to cycle, I did a 5-day water fast and a 6-day water fast and a 7-day water fast. And in the 7-day, I also incorporated some coconut water, however. But each time I would think, I would get to, so say on the 6-day water fast, on day 5, I would think, I've already done this. I know I can do this. We've had experience with this. And so it became so much easier. It always becomes easier, and the mind is capable of that. The mind, people say the mind is like a muscle, you train it, and it's true. And now it feels, I don't feel a need to have the mangoes. I don't feel a need to have the bananas, but I know that I will, because that is what I am nourishing this experience with. This is within the plans for myself. This is in divine timing, you know. It all lines up. And it's something that comes through the experience of a fast, but it does wonders for willpower, capacity, resilience. It does wonders. And it allows you to know how to let go of things. You have to let go of hunger. You can't, if you're going to not eat for a significant amount of time, you just have to let it go. And it does, it just goes by itself. And of course, breaking a fast well should always be done with foods that are gentle on the stomach and gentle on the intestines, gentle on the sensation of taste, because even though taste is very much enhanced when you break fast. And this is because you want the stomach and the gastrointestinal tract, the digestive system, isn't an on and off switch like a light bulb. It doesn't just kick back into action. There's lots of processes, lots of different enzymes. It's a highly coordinated orchestra of different organs, and it needs to be done with respect to the body. If you don't want to put the body under undue stress, or stress that's unnecessary. And so that's why I'm choosing to, I bought these mangoes on about day 6 probably. They smell amazing, and it's in line with me because I had a friend last night just randomly say to me, mangoes are an amazing fruit. And then I thought, that's crazy, because mangoes are the next thing on my plate. So thank you for that affirmation. Mangoes are an amazing fruit. I've got 1, 2, Oh, they all feel so nice in my hands. It's really beautiful to notice how the human body really is designed to do these kinds of things. Like children love the the tactile experience of fruits. The smell, the sights, like there are so many colors. The taste, the 3D-ness. I think the word is whatever. Yeah, there's so many dimensions to it. It's not one homogeneous shape. No two of them are the same. You can really, and we have tools, perfect tools for breaking these open. Our teeth are perfect. Our digestive system is perfect for these. If we had loads of fruit trees, we'd enjoy climbing the trees. We'd find a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction when they drop, and we can share them and we can laugh about it, and it's sweet, just like breast milk is very sweet and full of minerals, vitamins. It is nature's milk for us. It's meant to sustain us, which is why the fruits of the earth are our food. And of course, humans, being humans, we're very playful. We of course have a tract that releases as well. So as we eat the seeds, or as we play with the seeds and make things with the seeds, or as we pass the seeds through us, they're meant to pollinate, not pollinate, they're meant to spread, and this spreads the plants. And this is why we are one of the species on the planet which should have that kind of symbiotic relationship with plants. We should be helping them grow and proliferate across the world as they support our lives and our existences. And so yes, mango is an amazing fruit. All fruits are amazing, but mango is amazing. Okay, and that is all that I wanted to talk about on the entirety of this fast. And I'm very happy with the way it's ending, even though there isn't really ever an end and a beginning to anything. And yes, I wish you peace and patience and balance, things to be grateful for. There's always things to be grateful for. And for your prosperity and abundance coming with this new moon and the new cycle of the earth, and with the coming new year of the Gregorian calendar. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far.